Hi, this is Lilia with the Help Yourselves podcast. And with me tonight, I've got two brothers, Graham and Grant Shaw, and all the way from sunny Glasgow. And I just stumbled across Grant's workshop last week, and it's called Men Matter. And I thought I have to contact these guys and find out what they're doing because from the Heal Scotland perspective, we attract a lot of women. I think, we're sort of like 20% men, 80% women. So
Yeah.
that's really, really important, I think, given that so many of our young men are suffering from mental health, and women, obviously, but suicide rates, and particularly out in our islands, are really pretty scary. So I thought I really want to discuss what you guys are doing, how it's working, how you're enjoying it, and are the men coming along? Are you getting the men out their houses? So thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Well, we've done a steady group. Last week was a wee bit quiet. We had 7 people, but we're getting between 9 and 10. We've not really advertised it that much, so I dare say we could get a lot. We've got a group page on WhatsApp, and there's a few people on that as well. They've still to come too. So there's been people asking us for flyers and that. Grant was actually meant to make them up, but I forgot. So.
But that's fantastic, and it will definitely grow organically. So how did you let's talk about how you guys came up with this idea and what took you to this journey, and having the bravery as Scottish men to actually go, right, come on, we need to get together, we need to express in some way what we're feeling inside to try and help all of us to feel better. What was your kind of catalyst, your turning point?
So I think just kind of for myself, Graham. So we had went to a retreat in December, and as part of the retreat, I had found myself drumming and kind of helping to hold space naturally. And then when I came home and started doing breath work, me and Graham kind of realised how powerful breath work can be, and especially the conscious connected breath work. And that's something that a lot of people, when they go to retreats, they tend to do this sort of stuff. So one day in Graham's living room, actually, Graham had just finished a session of Campbell, and then what we had started doing was drumming on the back of it and kind of trying to breathe in the back of it, and we realised how powerful it was, because it just, for nowhere, the two of us just started, so myself and him just started releasing emotion, screaming into a pillow, laughing, crying, dancing, and we kind of realised, didn't we, Graham? We thought we need to do something with this.
Yeah, that was the catalyst for it. That's what that really started. Is after the way we felt after it, and that we thought, well, there is people out there who just fear to let their emotions out, so let's do something about it.
Do you guys do Campbell yourselves? Are you?
So it's just something we've kind of started. I was actually trialing, because I'd served it myself quite a few times. I was trialing it on Graham just to see how it was, and then, but again, like everything we've done, the breath work and drumming it's always been the most powerful thing out of everything, and it's free, which is great. And you on a lot of your videos, like a lot of the videos on the page as well, you realise how many different types of breath work there is out there, and it's free, which is amazing. And I think we had kind of touched on it as well, that guys don't like talking, and there's loads of talking groups out there for addiction, depression, anxiety, even health issues. There's groups out there, and for me personally, I would struggle going to a talking group. Whereas with the breath work, it kind of just naturally forces you to go within yourself. And
absolutely,
if there's somebody next to you screaming or laughing, see maybe 2 or 3 weeks into it, suddenly you find yourself. And we'll talk about one of the guys, obviously they'll name anonymous, but we'll talk about one of the guys kind of later. But we've already started to see the change in people, which is amazing, and just hope it kind of grows. It
totally will grow. I think it's a brilliant idea. I love drumming. when I used to live in Malta, and we used to go down the beach, you know, round the full moon, and or just any excuse, we all had djembes, and we would just drum and have the didgeridoos, and oh my God, it's just so therapeutic, and it's tribal, right? You know, there's something about the drum. It changes the brain frequencies. It gets the heart and brain into coherence. There's a lot of science behind it now, but it feels good. We don't really need the science if we're enjoying it. And also, I think just the act of drumming as well as listening to just that repetitive beat is just hugely. It just takes you away from all the crap of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Well, what we found as well is, see, we've got music on in the background as well, and see with the different music and the different higher pitched drummers, it's like people letting out different emotions for each one, you know. So it's everything's all connected with the breathing, with the music and the drumming, and that's all connected in a way to let out different emotions for each stage as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I always teach is, you know, as we breathe, the cells start to expand. It's almost like you're blowing up a lilo, you know, so there's really nowhere for trapped energy to stay stuck. And that's what's great about it. You know, I teach quite 11 different letting go talk therapies. But for me, the breathing as well, just get in. You don't need to think about what you're going to release. You just let the body do what it naturally will want to do. Yeah,
definitely. That's what we find as well, is we try to tell the guys, if you're starting to think about anything else, just concentrate on your breathing, and it'll just take you back in as well.
Back to the breath. So, just go with the flow. And I think that's a massive thing, is especially if you've got somebody who, we've all been there. Like last night, for example, we done the exercise that a lot of people that do breath work do, where they do that, right, breathe for a minute and count how many breaths you do. Guys, when they first come to us, it's always in the high 20s, because they're carrying so much, and so much of it's pressed down into their body. So as the weeks go on, and as Graham says, the music kind of carries that energy, you start to see the energy moving within them. And the longer the session goes on as well, you start to see them open up more as well, which honestly, it's so powerful. And just what you're, like, drums are so amazing, because they really help push the energy along with the music. And that's where we probably were a wee bit different, because a lot of drum groups, we don't really use the drums in a way where everybody's got a drum and they're going to be drumming. We use the drums to kind of move the energy. So there's maybe only 2 or 3 years playing a drum, and we might be playing it over someone that's breathing to help kind of shift what they need to shift.
Yeah, there is drums in the middle of the floor, but see if anybody wants to go and pick it up and join in. There is a sets of drums sitting in, so a lot of the guys do pick it up and just sit and hit the drums as well.
But even that can be intimidating. I know that when at first I was like, I wanted to pick it up, but you're like, am I going to be any good at this? Because we're so conditioned, aren't we, to feel that we're not good enough to do things, and these things that really help you to let go of all that. And that's what's great about what you guys are doing, because I'm sure more and more people are just going to, the idea of not talking will definitely attract people. Breathing and drumming, I mean, it's just innate in us that these things are going to change your vibration, without a doubt.
Definitely.
So you said you went on a retreat. So was it ayahuasca, an ayahuasca retreat?
Yeah. My first one was 2 years ago now. I've done three retreats I've been to now. But the most powerful one I was at was in December with Grant there. That's what I took the most out of, and that's why I decided I'd like to see. As Grant says, the breathwork was really powerful over there. I don't know if that was, at first I was thinking that's because ayahuasca was still mixing my system. I was working with it. It might have been, but once we practiced the breathwork at home and all that, I just realised it was so powerful. And that's why we decided just to share it with folk as well. So
yeah, and it's nice that you did that with your brother, because there's more and more people turning to the plants, to mushrooms, ayahuasca, all the different, you know, ways that we can break through our consciousness and try and find out a little bit about what this mad world is all about. And you know, I think I think the plants are doing us a massive favor right now, because it's bringing people together, breaking down, you know, all the boundaries and the limitations, and bringing us much more into a kind of open heart space. So it's great. And I think as well, there's a lot of men going, you know, because it's been hard for them as well. I think the changing roles and the demasculation and all the stuff that's going on with all the gender stuff, nobody really quite knows what the hell's going on.
I know.
I don't know whether we're coming or going.
What about you, Grant? What was your experience? Is that your first time, or have you done it before?
No, so been a few times as well, and I've had the toad as well, but I'll not be going back to that anytime soon.
I was exact same. I did the toad, and I was like,
I'd be feared to do
it. But no, for me, I think that's especially what the last one taught me more than anything. I mean, plant medicine's amazing, and it's such an amazing tool, but it's only a gate, you know, and it's only to show you where to go. And that's what I picked up loads from my last retreat, was that, right, okay, you've done this, now get home, ground yourself, and start working on yourself. Don't come back to me until you've properly worked on yourself. And that's where it came from. So the breath work was something that was part of a daily routine. Like most people, I just went onto YouTube videos and then finally realised, right, I better go and get some sort of certification here. So I done a pranayama certificate, went and get my first aid certificate. Again, without thinking about it, just going with the flow, and then the next minute I've got these certificates, and I'm like, right, okay, maybe we should start a group.
Brilliant.
And then the next minute we started a men's group. So that's where it's came from. As I say, it's only kicked off in this way since coming back in December.
It's the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think you hit a really good point there, because, you know, I've seen people doing plant medicines for a long time now, and to be honest, I did ayahuasca when I was in Ecuador about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I wasn't really that called, because I was watching people do it, and I thought, well, nothing much has changed there. What you found out, I could have told you. So there was no real great draw, but then I just got the opportunity, and I tried it when I was there, just more out of curiosity. And I think that's exactly the message, is that it's, you know, people are wanting to then find the magic pill through the plant. You fix me, tell me what to do. And going back over and over and over again, you know, hoping that you're just going to get wiser and wiser and more conscious. And really, we're back living in this material world, aren't we, where we have to manage. And that's, to me, where the breath work comes in. And like you were saying, Graham, I found after psilocybin, I found my breath work really incredible. And then, but you can do it without the plants. You can get a phenomenal, you know, expansion. And I think that's really the way I would love to see it going.
On that note, there was somebody in our group who, and again, obviously it's a safe space, so not to name names or anything, but there was somebody in our group who has never done anything like this before. Spent their life working and looking after their family, all the rest of it, and decided now it was time for themselves. So we're 4 weeks into it, fourth session that he had done. But this was his fourth. Sorry, this was his fourth. And then suddenly last night had a breakthrough. Seen a big massive yellow figure looking at him, and I was so happy, because just like you said, that's just came for breathing.
Yes.
And it's so,
well, I mean, that's what Stanislav Grof, you know, when he was obviously the kind of global leader in, you know, changing consciousness and helping people really unwind from schizophrenia, etc. And that's why he created holotropic breathing, because when he was talking about, you know, LSD and psilocybin and all the ways to change, and Bufo, people were like, I want to experience this. And he was like, well, how can we help people experience it without, because at that time so much stuff was illegal. I'm not even sure what the situation is now, but breathing is not illegal, and we have that power right under our nose. And our challenge, February challenge for Heal Scotland, is the daily breath work, and there's so many different ways to do it. And I like a hardcore session. I really enjoy the dynamic breath work, because that's what takes me to that place where I can see a big lion's head and all that stuff. That's what I like.
That's what I like as well. I know, because I didn't realise we've all got DMT in your system, and they breathe and release that. And see when it did, is it took me, when I started myself, it took me a wee bit to get into it. But see, when I did, oh my God, I was just sitting, I was actually just lying on my floor like, oh wow. I was like intense breathing, like in and out. Just kept doing that, because I started getting the pins and needles and all that as well. Then it just went.
What is it? Is it tetany you call that, when you start to get that and your face starts to go, and so I mean, that's why, and not everybody wants to leave their body and get away into these different, for some people it's enough just to not be anxious.
Well, that's it. Yep. That's the thing as well, like, so what we tend to do as well is we'll give the group, so there's a WhatsApp within the group as well, so that there's weekly integration, because as you just hit the nail on the head, like you're effectively opening yourself right up. So that WhatsApp group's there for support, just the same way integration would be there for somebody that's took something. And also as well, throughout the week, so this week we've got wee challenges we do every week, and this week all we're doing is giving everybody a minute. So take a minute a day to breathe, and this is this week's challenge. So although the actual group itself is quite intense, we kind of teach them box breathing and calming methods to do during the week, during their busy lives, which for me is probably something I was guilty of not doing. And now that I'm doing it with the group, it's forcing me to have to do it.
Absolutely. Because that's, as the teacher, you have to practice what you preach. And if you're trying to motivate and inspire others, you're motivating and inspiring yourself as well. And I think that there's so many different ways to breathe. From the 4-7-8, you can do 4 rounds of that and feel quite different in 1 minute, right up to lying down and for an hour and going for it, and proper workout. So, and then there's all the other different ways in between, all the different ways to do retentions and holds and all of that. I just think, I find it absolutely fascinating, and I think the biggest thing we can share is just try something, learn a way to do it. And most people I find are maybe not so much with guys, they are quite careful, because there is an element of the unknown. What's going to happen when I really go for this here? What am I going to see? What's going to come up? And we've pushed down our emotions for so long, and there's ancestral stuff in there as well. It's we don't really know, but at the end of the day, I always say it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling, and we can just let it pass through, and you'll always feel better. Once you've let it go, always.
Oh yeah, that's it. It doesn't serve you holding on to feelings. So what to do, I just let them go through now. So there's a few of the guys were feeling anxious the other night as well. Grant was one, but I think that was something to do with the moon or something. It was a new moon, we were saying. So it was, and just advice, just let the feelings pass.
Aware of your connection to all the cycles and rhythms, don't you? When you start opening up, you're definitely going to be much more understanding that we're all connected. It is all connected. And but I think as well, in terms of getting that group together, when I'm helping people to let go in a group, it has an exponential effect. Everybody's there. It's quite a sacred space. Tears could come, emotions could come, anger could come. Everybody wants the best for everybody else that's there. It's really pure, and you've had the balls to turn up, which I always say that to people, because so many people won't do that. And hopefully now with online stuff, people can access this magic, from the privacy of their home if they're not well enough to come out for any reason. But I think what you're doing is incredible, and I would love to see stuff like that going on all over the country. Anything that will help people engage, men particularly, and come out. And it's fun as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, last night we were dancing and that. See, I was up dancing. My way of releasing is dancing and shouting and that. So it's not dancing.
It's amazing how it's grew as well, isn't it, Graham? Because last night, so we were actually, you're talking about the one thing guys don't do is open up for the heart. So we had everybody in the circle was chanting for the heart at one point, and then we had the sound bowl for the heart as well, and we were all chanting to the sound bowl with the music in the background, and it was just it was beautiful. Like, it was genuinely amazing. Last night
we're a musical
that wasn't planned last night with the sound bowl. It just happened to be the chanting and that started off, but then as we got I was maybe about 3/4 of the way through. Gary started doing the sound bowl, then we just started chanting just out of nowhere. And then everybody joined in and about the group. So there's people that was beautiful.
Flowing.
Well, I mean, it's the frequencies from, you know, like obviously from the bowl, from the energy, you know, the chemistry you've changed after the breath work. And we find that at the farm, you know. I get people out the river and they're always dancing. The neighbours think we're mental. You know, music is the most powerful transformational tool as well. You know, the right music, even when you're breathing, where you can really just, you know, you can feel it, it changes everything. And that's why I want to do the festival. You know, it's all got to be done through fun. Yeah, you might cry, but you'll also laugh and feel so much lighter. And, you know, we really need to focus on the fun side of it and what you get, what's on the other side of all that letting go, and that you've turned up, you've been brave enough to go, right, let me try it, you know?
So that's the thing, it's trying it once. The hard part is getting there, but see once you're there, it's just amazing. And there's nobody left the group feeling worse than they did come in. You're always feeling better. You know, so it's definitely worth honouring yourself and going trying it, you know. So
yes,
a lot of people, but it's once they get into it, man, they really seem to be enjoying it.
Yeah. So just for people listening, if there's any men or what, I don't know if you find this, but what we find is partners say, you should go to that.
Yes, the amount of pages I've posted on, and it's always the wives or the girlfriends tagging them and saying that you should try this.
I mean, it's just would be so wonderful if we could, you know, really find something like that could really inspire men to come out and get involved and, you know, try it once. So where are you guys based then, if anybody listening to this?
So we're based in sunny Bellshill, which is about 20 minutes from Glasgow, in Lanarkshire. So Bellshill it is. We're in the YMCA on a Wednesday night from 7 o'clock. The first circle's free as well to try. So and that's something we've always stuck by, is your first circle's free to try, and then it's a £5 a week every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock.
I mean, that's cheap as chips, and yeah, you can try before you buy. It's absolutely fantastic. Well, listen, well done, guys. It's really fantastic to speak to you and to meet you, and hopefully I will meet you in person at some point. I think
I've still to buy my festival tickets, but payday's not to next week, so just wait there.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what we want. We're looking at things that we can actually actively do around Scotland. You know, what is Heal Scotland about? It's about like, well, we need to teach people how to breathe. Drumming is definitely something that is
Lily, we actually found the Friday class is stopped now, but we found a meditation class we used to go to through Heal Scotland.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so we used to go to Aga. So we still go to our sound baths, but I used to go to Aga, and we found it through Heal Scotland.
Brilliant. Oh, she is just an absolute angel, isn't she?
She's amazing.
Yeah, she is. Well, that'd be great. It'd be great to see you at the festival. And yeah, we need, you know, I've had 3 messages from people in the island saying, what can we do here? So we need to actually get really practical and find the things that are working. and what do people want, because that's the other thing.
Well, do you want us to quickly explain what we do in the hour? Would that
yes
be all right?
sure. Yeah, of course.
So just so people have got an idea, and if MDs want to start their own, please do it.
Yes.
Because do you know what? The more people that do it, the better. So all we do is we get everybody in, and then we get them to lie down, feel comfortable. After we do a warm up, we'll play handpan music, that sort of music, get them breathing, and then about halfway through, we'll change the music slightly to more kind of medicine music, shamanic music, and then we'll start to bring the drums in, because at that point, they've been breathing for half an hour, so they start to feel. And then eventually there's a room full of guys screaming, shouting, crying, dancing, whatever they need to do. And then what we'll do is at the end, we'll just ground everybody before they go home. So you're going home in a safe space effectively. And that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. So it's an hour.
Just over an hour. Last night we lasted a while, didn't we? I went a bit over last night.
It ran a wee bit late last night because everybody was just in the moment. So we didn't want to stop it, so you just let it go. That's
quite nice as well. And sometimes people will hang out, and I'm sure as you get more, they get more familiar and more confident. People are probably want to talk, about their experience and bringing other people along. So I think it's still quite niche, much as in our world it's not niche at all, but a lot of people still do not know about the power of breath work, and it drives me crazy because I can see people and I think, just breathe a wee bit differently, and for a few minutes and you're going to feel so much better.
Because it calms you down. The breathing can calm you down as well.
Absolutely and energize you. A lot of people are tired. You need more energy. So you can just do 5 minutes, and it changes everything. And then of course, when you change how you feel, it changes what you think. When you change what you think, you change what you do, and all of that is, and also within your family, within, if you've got children, etc. Let's face it, it can be challenging. So, or your workplace, so whatever, just for day-to-day use, to become aware of how you're breathing, help you manage situations much more helpfully.
That's it. And see if you even give yourself 10 minutes a day. It's not a lot to take out your day, and it will help.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I've been doing with the challenge, is saying, decide how long you're going to spend breathing today, and then that's how you choose what exercise to do. We've got a whole variety of different things that you can do. So, because the biggest prohibitor for a lot of women, in particular with children, is time. So if you say, right, okay, 5 minutes, I'll do 5 minutes psychologically, rather than try to do an hour and then fail. Just say, I'll do 5 minutes every day, and then you're going to get your time in.
Yeah, and if you get longer, you get longer, but even 5 minutes should help. You know what I mean? Everything helps.
It's the repetition.
That's it. I think, see, once you're doing it every day, you'll set a space aside, and you'll make sure you're doing it every day. Then it'll just come naturally. You'll just keep doing it.
Absolutely. When you get that buzz, you want it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thanks a million for coming on, and you can send me some links, and I'll put them in the podcast for you. And if anybody wants to, message you or join you, then they'll know where to go. And well done for making men matter.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having us on. Really appreciate it.
Not at all. Magic to meet you guys, and I'll hopefully see you at the festival.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely. Brilliant.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Take care. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you later.